This is my presentation on mental health and its effects on children of divorce. First, some context. Divorce is an unfortunate tragedy that many people undergo in life, and it often negatively affects children who go through that process. According to Paul Amato, those who experience divorce as children have poor psychological adjustment and lower socioeconomic attainment later in life. So, my gap is there has been a lack of research in mental health of children of divorce in recent years. And my gap especially focused on teens who've experienced divorce. And why is this important? Many teens or many children go through divorce, and afterwards there are many mental health repercussions that oftentimes go unnoticed until later in life. So it's important to identify these problems earlier on and find out why they are happening. This leads into my research question: how does interparental conflict and divorce affect the mental health of teenage children of divorce? So first, the literature review by Paul Amato. They analyzed a longitudinal study of children of divorce, and they tended to have a lower psychological well-being later in life. They found that the divorce is just the first step in a series of events that children must adjust to. And they found that many series of events are a series of transitions to their family life through remarriages and separate divorces with second and third marriages often lead to a lower psychological well-being. Second, literature review on children's adjustment by Jennifer Lanford reviewed the research literature on links between parental divorce and children's adjustment. There have been higher levels of externalizing behaviors and internalizing problems, lower academic achievement, and more problems in social relationships in children of divorce compared to children of families who stay together. And also, age and socioeconomic status play a big factor in this. Typically, the younger you are, the worse these effects are, because as you're older, you tend to understand what's happening more, and you're able to adjust much quicker. And also, your socioeconomic status. Typically, if you are of a higher class, depending on a race or how much money you have, it usually makes it much easier to adjust to this new lifestyle. And finally, on interparental conflict by Rex Forehand. They conducted a longitudinal study on adolescents and their mothers. They found that interparental conflict plays an important role in how adolescents are influenced by divorce. Also, they found marital status also plays a role depending on if a parent has remarried or is still single, and oftentimes if they have remarried, that leads to a lot more interparental conflict. So the method I did a semi-structured interview based off of Paul Amato's work on teens. Obviously, it isn't a longitudinal study, that isn't possible in this situation, but I modeled my research or my question set off of his questions, and they were about 10 minutes in length and asked questions regarding the divorce process and mental health and interparental conflicts. And to analyze this, I used a thematic analysis, and I coded the transcripts I had and tried to find themes that were found in each one throughout all my sources or samples, and tried to find connections between them. As a result, I conducted 4 interviews, and overall there were increased feelings of stress and anxiety during the divorce process, but later in life they tended to go away. And all were present for some interparental conflict, however it was limited, and this significantly affected relationships with their immediate families and friends, but often not too much with outside family or their teachers and other people that aren't as close with them. And after the divorce process, feelings of stress, anxiety, depression typically went away or were not related to the divorce. So overall, in my samples, all 4 people were well adjusted to the divorce process. So some explanations for this: participants mostly not negatively affected by the divorce. Some explanations for this would be because oftentimes they were older and had an above average socioeconomic status, and they weren't impoverished or even middle class, even upper class or upper middle class. And they had access to other outlets like therapy, friends, and sports instead of being stuck at home all day dealing with it. Also, interparental conflict was kept to a minimum. It was kept verbal, and children were not present for much of this. They weren't exposed to it as much as other kids might be. And also, there were a limited number of family transitions, not too much remarriage or moving was involved, which definitely helped with this situation. And then finally, some limitations. There was a very limited number of interviews I conducted with only 4. I definitely should have conducted at least 3 or 4 more to get a wider sample base to make a better discussion out of it. And also, it was a very small demographic of predominant or all white kids from Brophy who were of an upper